No, it's to make it square. Okay, so. Oh. Paris? Did. Who? Oh, who's going to Paris?
Mark, are we all good?
Her?
Go to Paris?
Help us with literature from Paris in October.
No.
Wow. Or I keep seeing these. Right, I guess, like me too. Thank you. That's me. Call the meeting to order. Good to see everyone. Good to see you too. Following our agenda, next hearing is Wednesday, February 15th, here at 5:30. I'd like to swear in the staff. Swear to tell the truth, all of it. Thank you.
Yes.
Roll call. Louis, is that you?
Yes, Diane Nance,
Here.
Mary Gray,
Here.
Matthew Moore,
Here.
Liza Poe, Lisa Lemon,
Yes.
Mal Brown, here.
Yes.
Rod Butcher.
It's pretty good.
Okay. All right.
See, you heard that.
Overview of format.
We don't have any cases, so we won't do that.
Okay, all right. And I do not need to read this little paragraph either, do I?
No, just if there was anybody here from the public who wished to speak. No one's here.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Everyone's had a chance to review them, and if there are any questions, let's bring those up now. Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve minutes from last month.
Also approved. Those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here. I thank you.
Who seconded that?
Lisa.
Lisa, thank you.
We have no continued applications, new applications, nor conceptual applications. So we will go to business, Louis.
Okay. So, based off of our conversation last time and what we were thinking about doing, we'll just give you an update on the existing projects that have been approved by the commission. So the Parsons Avenue Streetscape, contract extension. The extension materials were received by Olga on 1/11. We have one more internal document to fill out, and then contract will be extended until December 31st, 2023 for her to finish that installation. Any questions on that?
If I recall, there was a lot of change on that street during this time period. Does she have all that she needs to update with it for her installation?
Yes, so we've had conversations with DPS. There was an issue with space to assemble the materials, but the city has given her a space, I believe, over on the peninsula somewhere for her to assemble the materials. So we are good to go.
Okay.
And the installation has not changed in any significant way?
No.
Or at all? Okay.
No, there was some talk, but she wanted to modify something, but we've gone back to the original
Great,
submission, so no changes.
thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, there was a question about using a certain kind of box,
Yes.
but that is not going to
No,
happen.
that's not gonna happen.
All right. Questions?
Okay, Starling Garage, the maintenance agreement between the Department of Public Service and Department of Development was finalized on January 9th. And we have sent the documents, the contract documents to sign local. So whenever that's installed, we will be maintenance agreement.
And that, so that habit or that um, maintenance agreements will go to the building, whether, even if it's a city building, the building that has the art will keep it up.
So the building is owned by the Department of Public Service, but the Department of Development is going to be in charge of maintenance for the department. So it was a maintenance agreement between DPS and the Department of Development.
Is that typical?
I don't know. Past maintenance agreements.
So you're gonna have to be the one that, dogs it for a better.
Yeah, every 5, yes, so the contract is set up so that every 5 years we'll go out and we'll pay a structural engineer to go out and review the gather and flow art piece to make sure everything is structurally sound and that the artwork itself remains structurally sound.
Development department's gonna pay for that.
Art and development, that's correct.
So, okay. Thanks.
Sure. Public art maintenance, I actually got off the phone with Lindsay at Blind Eye Restoration just around like 4:30 today. So they are under contract for the repair and evaluation of 16 pieces. 6 of the pieces have been completed. They did all the cold wax that they needed to get done before it got too cold. I'm not sure. Details on that. But they do plan on having all the pieces completed by February 16th, and so there won't be a need for an extension of the contract. I'll let her know if anything comes up that she can contact me.
Can you tell us there's 16 pieces, 6 are completed. I have no idea what those are. Is there any way for you to tell us what those are?
I don't believe I can log into my pay account here, but they are the deer, if you don't mind me just kind of,
All 3 pieces?
all 3 of the deer. The one deer that was vandalized was already repaired at this point, the one sitting on the steps in Burton.
Okay,
Split balance,
yes,
unicorn in the garden,
okay.
that one was completed. Deer, the War is Hell plaque, that one is completed. The plaques at the Topiary Park have been restored.
Okay.
And Flowing Kiss, that will be cleaned as well. I guess the chrome gets rusty on that. Trying to think of, Lucas Sullivan statue.
Good.
If you don't have, if you don't mind, I have a detail, but those are the ones I can think off of the top of my head, right?
This is something, I don't know, who keeps an eye on those, who is kind of monitoring?
So it's partially us, I suppose. If anything were to come up in Rec and Parks, they might let us know if something, if they were visually see something. I was just on the phone with her, talking to her about how one of the pieces from the old children's playground,
Okay.
how were the plaques
One's a-
loose. So that's, was that?
One's that?
No, there used to be the children's fairy tale playground here, the animals that now reside behind the old post office. One of those bolts is loose, one of the plaques is loose, so that's something we're gonna negotiate, working on, talk about. But yeah, we go into contracts with Blind Eye Restoration. She goes out, she reviews these things. So she's doing 16 right now, and then she'll let us know if we want to expand that to the rest.
I just never knew
Thank you so much.
how. It's a formal process, right?
Yeah, it'd be really nice to know, when you can, the ones that are ready to go.
I have it here, so
Oh, okay.
So Deer, Lucas Sullivan, School of the Deaf, plaques, Unicorn in the Garden, Terrestrial Guest, I think it's called, which is the one behind post office. It's the one honoring the Challenger explosion. War is Hell plaque, that one was done. Schiller Park Monument, pierced disc, eagle and shield, city hall flagpole bases, and the glowing kiss, Goodell Park bust and plaque, Maker's Monument, shake, rattle, and roll, and then through. And I can send these, I'll send you guys an email after the meeting today as well.
That'd be great. This has just come up in my head, so apologize, but, there are three pieces that are on my mind. One is that the Lincoln Goodale Monument in Goodale Park is, one of our earliest pieces, 1888. It's a bust on a column. I don't know if the, folks at Goodale Park are responsible for keeping that up.
I think that's on our list, Goodell bust and plaque.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really kind of special piece. Yeah. The grass around the reclining, I'm gonna say Terry Allen piece, Soda Lounge.
Mhm.
That's an ongoing problem, and perhaps we can talk about a way to make that less problematic. I know Columbus Rec and Parks, I think, is responsible for that one, but maybe we could talk about at some point. I remember that Terry Allen did not want a shape, he did not want,
Doily looking thing.
yeah, there's all sorts of things, but perhaps we can come to some agreement.
Yeah. I agree that should be solvable, and after our last meeting, based off your comments, I reached out to some people in there to see if we can solve conversations.
Great. And then the third one is there's a Melvin Edwards piece on Long Street. It's just off of the street. Oh, that might be Mount Vernon. I think it's Mount Vernon. It's in shape. And I was there a few months back, and depending on how ownership went, it would be really nice to have somebody look at that one. There's never, I think there was supposed to be a plaque put up for the artist, and it never got put up. So there's no plaque, but Melvin Edwards is a, respected artist, and it's right next to it's behind kind of a shopping area and next to an apartment complex. So there's a little bitty plaza there.
It's on Mount Vernon's.
Mhm.
Okay. Is that part of our inventory, or is that?
I'd like you to search on that because it used to be, and it may not be now, but it would be nice to see if in fact that ownership is still the city's.
I can take a look at that.
Would you? Sure.
Is it right there at the bend where it gets on?
Pretty
Mount
much.
Vernon, where there's the forming?
No, it's further east.
Further east?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll-
I think so, yeah. Yes, yes.
20th of Mount Vernon.
Mhm. It's about right.
All right, take a look into that.
A lot of it has to do with the masonry that the sculpture sits on. Thank you.
I'll see, yeah, we'll figure out who owns it and then. Okay, so then the Transit Arts Residency Program, the Central Community House contract, it was extended through June of this year. So they will be finishing up that contract. And then the Public Art Appraisal, the RFP is under development, and it should be advertised soon. In January was the last update I had received. So that should bring you up to date on all of the contracts. Any
Does
questions?
the appraisal go through finance?
We made an agreement with finance, so the reason we're doing the appraisal is to get more pieces insured. Finance will do the insuring, they asked for us to handle. Deliver that. Insured pieces.
And then with that, we have Amanda Golden. She's gonna discuss grant funding.
Such an aside to make comments.
As you do.
Good
Yeah.
evening, commissioners.
Good evening.
Yeah, we asked Amanda to join us to talk about the Bloomberg grant. We introduced it kind of conceptually in December, and we've been pursuing conversations with other communities in Columbus and with artists. So kind of this exciting local team who the city has contracted with Design Local to help us write the application for the Bloomberg Art Challenge.
Sure. Just a quick recap of the content that we are looking to present to Bloomberg. So when we initially started talking about Bloomberg, the city was very interested in highlighting our housing crisis and how the mayor is beginning to handle affordable housing. We felt on the surface that that wasn't a very interesting kind of topic to hand an artist and be like, talk about this. So instead, we wanted to honor the other work that the city has been doing with Redesign the Red Line and bringing that exhibit to their zoning code meetings, and really talk about how redlining has not only negatively impacted communities in our city, but also has positively impacted these communities, and begin to really discuss why communities have been successful and what is successful in those. So street trees, why are the schools good in some areas of town and not others? Why are, our birth rates and children, the Celebrate One initiative, why is that happening more in these communities that are redlined and have been redlined in the past? And then thinking broader than just the city of Columbus, how do we partner with other municipalities who have also benefited positively from the practices of redlining? And there are a few of our neighbors that we've actually reached out to and talked to, and we're continuing those conversations to see if they might join us on an application. As you all know, Bloomberg it strongly suggests that we have named artists as our partners when we go in for the grant. We felt strongly that an African-American artist should be the artist or artists who put forward this public artwork. It's very difficult to get in touch with a lot of these artists who have that name recognition that Bloomberg would say yes to and really be excited about funding. And so we had a couple of artists that we had approached. They've said no, and we've continued to kind of work through our contacts at OSU and the WEX in particular to help continue to reinforce that this is an important project and that we hope our partners like Ohio State would be involved in that conversation. So I'm happy to share that one of the artists that we are talking to is Amanda Williams. Her practice does center on redlining. All of her work has talked about the effects of redlining in communities. She is a MacArthur Genius in 2021, and so she's very busy. But we did have someone at Ohio State reach out to her who knew her personally, and she said she would be following back up with her in about a week. So we are waiting on that response. Fingers crossed that she says yes.
Can you describe her work?
The work that she has showcased on her website, and I can send you all links, or I can send them to Jennifer and she can share them. And I'm trying to remember what city it was in, but one of her series was in a neighborhood that she grew up in. I think it was in LA, and I could be very wrong.
I don't know. It looked like there was green grass, so I guess it could be, but I think it might not be.
Or Texas, I don't know.
Yes. There you go.
There you go. She focuses on vacant properties and the stories that happen in those vacant properties. There's a video on her site where she's talking about this work in particular, where she's discussing her relationship with, it might be in Chicago. She lives in Chicago. Where she's discussing how beneficial it was for her to actually meet the families who lived in these homes that are vacant now, but she's meeting the descendants of people that lived in these homes, and she's examining what redlining did to make the homes vacant, all the things that happened leading up to that point. So we have contacted her. We hope that she will say yes, given her relationship with these folks at Ohio State. Part of the grant too is that we want local artists to be able to benefit from the presence of someone who we hope is Amanda, or other artists who have this amazing background and who are receiving a lot of recognition for their work and who know how to pull off really large scale site specific artwork. And so when we're writing the grant, we're going to talk about partnership with not only the other municipalities, but also the necessity to bring along those local artists. And we don't know what form that takes yet.
I'll just add two things about the Bloomberg grant in particular, is the artwork that they would fund is temporary. It's meant to be temporary. And it's also, one of the things that they request is that you're addressing a unique
Yes.
situation. Affordable housing is an issue all over the country, as is redlining, but I think particularly some of the numbers that we have, we can see that that redlining and its effects and economic and racial segregation is particularly pronounced in Columbus, and the results of that are particularly shown by the kind of negative outcomes that have been in place that the Celebrate One initiative has been trying to address, and some other things. So I think
Urban forestry plan.
and forestry plan, like we have really good numbers and information.
Structure.
Yes, there's all kinds of data around this, so we feel that it is, I think, particularly interesting, even though redlining happened all over the country. We can see the impacts really well here, and we have some, there's a lot of initiatives to address these things, but also highlighting and telling the story of why things are the way that they are. Some people, you wake up and think, oh, this is just how it is, but educating why things are the way they are is important, and we feel like this initiative could really address that.
I also feel that there's a desire and oftentimes just a knee-jerk reaction to place things like this in the neighborhoods that did not benefit. And that reminder, that constant conversation, that constant reminder of here are the horrible things that happened in your neighborhood is not really where we want this to go. We want to place that art in places that benefited from redlining. And so we're not only talking about our neighbors that were green lined or blue lined in our case, but we're talking about those areas within Columbus that were green lined, like Clintonville, or some of these other communities within our boundaries of 270 saying, hey, you have the highest performing school. Why is that? Are there policies that led to that? You have the most concentration of the healthiest, oldest trees in your neighborhood and your beautiful streets. Why is that? And really begin to kind of think through that. And art as a tool is a really interesting and disarming way to have those uncomfortable conversations in those communities, we hope.
Okay, what's a blue line?
So the Hulk maps, which are, and you probably can spout off a ton of information. There are Hulk maps, HOLC maps that were created by a lender essentially to rate specific areas within cities to show this is a good place to invest in, and this is a bad place to invest in. So it goes from green to blue to yellow to red. Red is primarily focused in African-American neighborhoods, and yellow shows the proximity to African-American residents. So it's pretty interesting when you look at, you can pull up, exactly. Yeah, you can see where those communities are.
So this was assessing the safety of backing
Yes.
a mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you have a history of when all that started?
Oh, yes, very well done.
And do you have representatives from those neighborhoods that you can speak with that would be positively involved with this project?
In the green neighborhoods specifically? So I think that we're in phase one right now. So phase one is really just getting the idea on paper and defining who the artists are. And we really need an artist to say yes in order to make our application something that they will even look at. If you remember, we did prepare a Bloomberg grant in 2017 or 2016 for the Celebrate One initiative. It failed. We had no named artist. We are hoping this round with a named artist, and given all the work that the city has done around this topic, that there will be some kind of appetite to move us to round two. At this time, we have a small kind of working group that includes Councilmember Favor. It includes Shelby Toon. If any of you would like to join, please let me know. I'd be happy to include you on those conversations. But it's really just saying, hey, here's what we're thinking. Can you please provide feedback and tell us, are there other artists really that we should be looking at? And do you have connections to them? And if you do, can you please connect us? But phase 2 would include really laying out exactly what their process looks like. And the majority of the grant money is going to the artist. It's not going to the city to kind of think through all these things on an intellectual basis, but the artist will be the one who says, I'm going to build my engagement plan this way, and I want people from whatever neighborhoods with the help of the city. But I think that at this time, we're just saying, here's the topic, and we want the majority of the money to go to the artist because we want them to think through what that tool looks like.
And I think we could include in the grant proposal, like some of the ways in which if we have the artists and we get the funding, how they could do outreach. And,
Yeah.
the city has pretty strong area commissions in nearly all the areas that are highlighted on that with, direct representation from each of those areas. So I think we could use those tools to actually create the connections if we were to get the grant. And I'm sure any artist is going to want to have those strong connections. And frankly, it won't be successful unless we
Do have those.
have all of that in place and have people that want to go and engage with the pieces and all of that. So I think that will be a key component of it if it does move forward.
Working with some fabric artists who actually, the work that we're doing is redlining. And so we started our mapping in 1937. And we pulled it up to 1960s when communities were transitioning and stuff. And so they are quilters, international and national quilters who are actually doing this work. So if you're interested in those
Yes.
folk, definitely I can connect you with them.
That would be great.
Yeah, and that fulfills the Linden neighborhood GCAC grant that I received, so.
Oh, wonderful. That's awesome. We would love to be connected to them.
Right. Yeah, this is the map we started.
Yeah.
Certainly there would be artists in most of those communities.
Yes. If you go on Bloomberg Public Art Challenge, you will see that each grant recipient has an artist that has name recognition. And that is how they fund their projects. And I would encourage you to explore those projects.
I did, and they're pretty exciting projects.
So we're really trying to meet what we know they will fund by
Yes.
really finding some of those artists that are like, we would love to have in Columbus. Outside of the grant too, but.
And, we're not everywhere, we're here, but I think that we follow the conversations that are happening around the country. And I think that while there's a lot of conversation happening about it, for a city to be so engaged in directly talking about these kinds of issues and acknowledging these things is somewhat unusual. And some of the work that the city's already doing around the rezoning efforts and things that they're doing around that, I think will go a long way to help show that this is a real conversation and one that they want to continue. And the work that's already done creates a great base to jump off and really engage with people directly in the communities.
Does anyone want to join our working group?
Could you give everyone a time?
This week, this grant is due February 15th.
I know, I missed that first meeting.
Oh, there was no meeting. It was just me asking you to talk to me on the phone. It's fine. As you know, we're concentrating on another item right now that we are very focused on, and that is almost kind of out of the way. And so this, probably tomorrow and Friday, we'll be sending out emails that will say, hey, here are the times that we're able to meet. Please let us know if you're able to join a meeting. And we'll kind of send just a couple paragraphs that explain the project before and what we seek to accomplish. It's just going to be 2 meetings, I think. And I think if we're invited to phase 2, then of course that working group would grow to a more robust role. But at this time, it's just providing really just a response and being a sounding board and really co-creating that submission together. It's exciting.
Thank you, Lisa.
And if any of you have an artist that you would love for us to connect with, please send it to us.
And I think like be aggressive, like who do you think we couldn't get a hold of? Cause we can try and we can use. Oh, so
Have you tried?
Yes, and he actually responded to me. So, a friend of ours, Jessica Cusick, worked with him on Project Row Houses.
Yeah.
And I called her and I was like, can you please connect us? So she sent a group text and it took a few days. He said no. He's working on his paintings. I'm like, you sure you don't want to come out just for like a little bit?
just for $1 million, like, come on.
And he said no. And that honestly, Diana, is why we are leaning on our other partners at Ohio State, because the WEX does get their attention. Whereas, as you all know, and maybe you don't, you're new, Commissioner Brown, but a lot of our other work is focused on putting out calls and facilitating calls for municipalities. So there is not a lot of opportunity for us to go to an artist and say, hey, we are doing this thing, we have the money. We're usually running a process in which they have to apply, and then we're running a selection panel, which, as you know, the selection panel dictates that. This is a different exercise.
I'll also say
More of a
that
curatorial exercise.
most of the artists involved in applying for RFPs for public art are probably not the same artists that we're trying to reach out to for this. So it's a different pool of people.
Yes.
One that we may not have contacts with, but I think we're willing to leverage the other contacts we do
Yes.
have in the art community, as well as using OSU to leverage their contacts.
And maybe CCD if they would be willing.
Anyone, we'll,
Yeah.
if we think somebody can open a door, we'll use them. So that's why I say, be ambitious, and like, if you have an artist that you think, oh, we probably couldn't even get a hold of them, we'll try.
Is it visual artist only that you're?
It's temporary public art. Our original approach was to pair a visual artist or two with a literary artist. That desire and the artist that we wanted to work with was denied.
Said no.
He said no. And so,
Is it honey?
do you know him? Can you call him? Can you call him and beg him to do it?
Beg him to.
I would for, so I sent an email, someone at GCAC sent an email, someone at the WEX sent an email, and somebody sent an email from the contact form to his agent. So if you know him and you have any personal pull, just to ask him to reconsider. The email I received was,
What's up, this guy?
Yeah.
please. The email I received was, he read your email, not interested.
Oh.
Okay, we
Maybe
tried.
Miller
We
is-
got 4 different avenues.
Maybe Miller, if it's a dance piece, that would be really awesome.
Any of it. I mean, I think. all of
They're
that-
looking for, we've had
Yes.
conversations with other communities about this too, and I think they are open to other
Dance is
things,
so
yeah.
ephemeral, I feel like that would be.
Because what's the difference? Yeah,
perfect.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like it.
Send that person,
Okay,
and if you know them, you can send
well,
an
they have
introduction.
us here, but they still travel a lot.
Great.
So.
Great.
We don't need them to be here all the
No, they
time.
retired from OSU, so they're connected to OSU.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
please send.
I'll
it.
check the department too. I teach there.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
please.
great.
Right. We'll talk.
Yes, please, that would be awesome. Be really awesome.
But yeah, I think we're basically open to any, but I think as a group, the group will be open to any form of medium. It's just
That's
about
great.
getting the right
Very
people and the people that are interested in this and
Yeah.
that have not only that, but also have that oomph to really impress Bloomberg.
Just things tied to the area.
Does anybody know Detroit artist Mario Moore? He's a 34-year-old knocking it out of the park
If you can get him to enter.
with his figurative works.
Say his last name again?
It's Mario Moore. He studied at Yale and Princeton.
On the list.
Yeah.
I can share with Jennifer, we have a Google Doc that is literally a list of people that we have that are divided by what kind of art they create. And it has links to their work. And so I can just cross off the ones that have said no. And so that you can see that we've explored that, and then make some notes in there. And then y'all can add to that Google Doc And then we can see the additions. That way there's not a million emails flying. You're also welcome to email us, but if you want to see the doc so that you can continue to add to it, we're totally happy to send that.
I made the notes of the two names that you said, so.
And I'll watch for an email from you, Commissioner Brown.
How about this?
Perfect, perfect. Any other questions? That's through the 15th. I believe that you will receive a copy of that submission as well for review before it goes in. Our goal is to send that to you a week before. So like the second of February.
There's a couple of things we could go over that I skipped. So the educational materials, we're working on compiling some educational materials. My understanding that GCAC is also compiling some materials as well. These are our internal city documents. I went through the agendas, historical agendas to find everything that the commission had approved as far as documents. And I sent them to Diane, and she suggested a couple additions. And so I have put all that together. We're still doing some final reviews of it. And then as soon as that's done, we can send it all out to you. And then at the next meeting, we can discuss it if you have any questions. The basis for our review, what documents, additional documents have been approved, the bylaws, et cetera. Send them out electronically. Jamal, we got you a 3-ring binder.
I will not be sharing.
So we'll get to that. And then I just wanted to pull this up real quick. This is what I had sent out an email, but I just wanted to show you some of the work we're trying to do on Facebook. Try and promote public art on our Columbus planning page. We do a couple things. One's a great result. Talk about just great results in the neighborhood, developments and whatnot. Other things we do are
You've seen those viral posts. It's all this guy.
it's not all this me,
I haven't
there's a
looked at
team. There's a team. We do historic highlights as well. So we promoting our historic listings and description of all that kind of stuff. But the other one we've been doing is public art piece highlights. So so we did the immigrants. We talked about one of 114. We mentioned additional information that we don't have in our archive. Our information in our archive is pretty thin, and I was looking for dates. You had asked for dates. We don't have the dates of when these art pieces were created. So a lot of the stuff we're getting is I'm finding things on such as the Columbus Italian Club website talking about things. So not all of this has been 100% reviewed, but for the most part, it's things that appear to be quite accurate. So, we're getting some shares and some likes. We do Throwback Thursdays, talking about the Walk of Wonders, Western Shopping Center. But so we've done a couple of these art ones. So Flowing Kiss, we got some good responses on that. People said they drive by it every day. They never realized they were kisses and all that kind of thing. So we're trying to raise some of the awareness of the art pieces. So if that's one part we're doing, we are going to keep promoting the art archive. We indicate there. So if you're comfortable going to the page and then sharing it with all your friends, that would just help disseminate, get more shares, more likes, more people become aware of art. Columbus.
And if we visit any, can we tag
Of course, yeah.
any of the works that are not?
Oh, yeah.
We talk about with tag you guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
Louis, regarding dates, this is from Lori from a while ago.
Okay.
There is an Excel file that was used for data entry into artwork archives.
Yes.
And apparently there are a lot of dates in there.
So the Excel spreadsheet that was used for our archive, I compiled that. I can go back and look at some of the older spreadsheets and see if we have dates
That's what I think she's referring to.
We have the dates of when they came into like for some of them, we have the dates when they came into the collection.
Dedication dates.
Yes, but we don't have creation dates. I'll look though.
Okay.
I'll do some further digging.
Yeah, it just seems like we ought to have that information somewhere.
Good, yeah.
But even dedication dates would be very helpful
Yeah.
because the work would have been, yeah,
Yeah.
created.
And that's a movie.
It's really super news.
Yes.
Yeah,
Love it. Thank
really
you.
love.
Thanks.
Up
Very
there, that
much.
picture of, like this.
It's got this stripes on and stuff, right? Yeah. That's what everyone says. They're like, they don't have
Beetlejuice
stripes on it."
version.
Like it has stripes.
The Beetlejuice version, that's right.
Everybody says that too. Yeah, they're like, it looks like Beetlejuice.
When was it redone?
A year or two after.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I remember thinking, who selected? What happened over there? I'm like, sorry, I just didn't think of those.
Chip.
Oh, okay, well, there we go. All right. So sorry, you know,
Okay.
some, 20 years from now, something's gonna be saying, who selected that big?
Different times.
Different, that's right, different times.
We're done with the agenda. Does anyone have any they'd like to bring up or discuss or put on next time's agenda? Okay, well, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
You're-
I'll first.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you. All in favor?
First.
I think everybody's in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.